I'm gonna record this as well. Oh, you got more coming in. We walk the line and try to see falling behind. What could be?
Amanda, you might want to turn it up a little bit. It's kind of soft.
Okay, thanks.
You're welcome.
Can you guys hear it?
A little bit. Hi guys, welcome. We'll get started in about a minute or two. Thank you all for being here. And Michelle, I love you came with notes. You are ready, girl. I like it.
Hey, stay ready.
Right. Well, while you guys are kind of getting settled in here, if you can put in the chat where you're coming in from, so city or state, or both, and also where you found Amanda and I from. We would love to hear that. So if you don't mind putting that in the chat should be over to your right.
In this whole world, not as fair. We walk the line and try to see falling behind. What could be?
Westerville. All right, that's right by me. Awesome, Angela. Oh my gosh, I'm from Cleveland. That's awesome. Okay, yes, to Slate Hill. That's awesome. Awesome.
We have a couple more trying to get in here.
We're international, Amanda. You hear that? Canada. That's awesome. Yay, Aiden.
Canada and Donnie, my friend Donnie, she's all the way from the UK. She's joining in.
Awesome.
All right. Let's see. Gotta love some Whitney, right?
Oh yeah.
Love some Whitney. Oh my goodness. Well, we are so thrilled.
Hi, Donnie.
Yay, Donnie. And if people can put on cameras today, I understand you might be at a place where you don't want to be, but we don't care what, we would just love to see you all and interact and feel like we're talking to people, which would be awesome. So if you can, if you have ability to, to show your face today, we would definitely love that, to be able to engage and interact. Have a couple people that are trying to get in and not able to.
What is it saying? Is it saying
it's Jen from Instagram, that lady. Maybe you can message her, or it's telling her Zoom, Amanda Pride's Zoom meeting, and then it just says this is a reoccurring meeting. The host has another meeting in progress. Why would I have another meeting in progress? That's weird.
I wonder if you gave her your basic link versus the link that you made for this.
No, it should be the same. Yes.
Hi guys. You gotta love technology. I promise we are gonna get this going.
Yes.
Technology sometimes will fail you, but nonetheless, we are still gonna make this work. We're gonna let nothing get in the way. So let's see.
And you guys all just clicked on the link from the email, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
it's also just like being patient. It's learning, like when we do new stuff online and with new people, as there's and the dynamics growing, and just being patient and loving with one another, as we learn and grow.
Right. Absolutely, absolutely. Does anyone have any fun plans for today if you guys are off work or anything? Kind of relaxing.
My kids are off school, so they've got girlfriends over and that's why I have it on mute. It's just, they're gonna have fun. So they're enjoying their day. It's good.
We just celebrated my family Christmas in Dayton this past weekend. So we just got back like 20 minutes ago.
Oh, perfect timing, but how fun. I'm glad you guys got to be with some family.
Yeah, thanks.
Oh, Jen's in. All right.
Yay, okay.
Hey,
Awesome.
okay. I'm so excited. So thank you all for your hi Jen. Thank you for working with us with that technology. You gotta love it. Thank you all so much for being here. Amanda and I are so excited. And I have to be honest, you'll probably hear it a little bit in my voice. Amanda and I were so excited that we were going to meet in person and we were going to do this amazing class. And then I got the flu and Amanda had surgery. And so between the two of us, we've had all these reasons to like get in the way and stop it, but I promise you, this has been like the number one thing lighting us up. Like the first thing I do in the morning is like write Amanda, and we're talking about all the things that we're gonna bring to you. And then the last thing, before bed, Amanda's like, I got this great idea. And so we've just been going back and forth. So I really feel like you guys are in for a treat today. And we just want to say thank you so much for being here, because time is valuable, right? You can spend your time in any way. And so the fact that you guys have shown up and decided to be here, hi Megan, shown up and decided to be here with us today means a ton. So what I want to do before we kind of dive into what we're going to talk about is just want to do brief intro. So I know some of you know Amanda, some of you know me, but we'll each take an opportunity to introduce ourselves. So I'm Dr. Nicolya, and just a little bit about me is I am a 12-time best-selling author. I have 2 daughters. I'm a girl mom, as well as a transformational coach. So a little bit about my journey that got me here and inspired to even begin teaching was a couple years ago. I went through a pretty big life transition. I went through a divorce, and during that season, I was, raising 2 kids alone. I was working a full-time job, a part-time job, and putting myself through college, getting my doctorate. And needless to say, I was wearing all the hats and doing all of the things and constantly on the brink of burnout. And I just knew that there had to be more than just normalizing that piece of it. So I went down this long journey of just some personal development and self-help and just leaning into that. And I learned so much. And I remember I promised God, I'm like, the more I learn, I promise not to keep it in a vacuum. I promise to be able to take this information and compile it in a digestible way to give it to people that really, really want to make shifts and changes in their lives as well. And so I've been doing this work for about 5 years, and I just love every part of it. I get so lit up. So I will apologize in advance if I start talking really fast. It's just because I get excited about this. But I promise we'll make it make sense, and we'll definitely have time for Q&A and all that fun stuff. So that's a little bit about me. And then Amanda, I'll let you introduce yourself.
Yeah, hi. Well, I am so thrilled you all are here. If you only knew how long this vision, something like this has been in my spirit to see, happen. It's been a long journey to get here. So to have all of you here today and your presence here just means the world to me. So thank you so much. So I too am a mom. I've been married. I'm a mom of 3. So I have 2, one getting ready to head into college, one in college now, and a son that's an 8th grader. I've been married for 26 years. We just celebrated that in January. So long time marriage, man. It definitely stretches and grows you as long as parenthood and motherhood and all of that, right? So lots of growth for me over the years. And I really want to say that the journey I've been on, I would say about the last 7 years, we still have people coming in here, is really one of learning to surrender. I spent a lot of my life kind of resisting that what I felt God, the Spirit in me was wanting to do into and through me. But due to maybe some limiting beliefs, not enough belief in myself, not seeing others around me in a similar space, I really blocked what I felt that I was being called to do. And some of you know, but many of you might not, my mom passed away in 2021. And I watched my mom develop so much of her physical body outwardly, but yet inwardly, she was emotionally detached and never received the healing this side of earth that I know she longed for and wanted. And that lit a fire in me that has just taken me to a whole new level and has really opened up my eyes to elevate myself and put myself in rooms and with people who are going to help stretch and grow me to go to the healing, to those places within that I can get to so that I can be the best version possible of myself each and every day. And so we are thrilled you're here today. I think you're going to hear our heart come through. And some of these limiting beliefs, you might, it's not like I'm totally overcome them, but we're going to show you some steps today that can really help help with some of those limiting beliefs and help foster just going after your desire and your goals. So hang with us today. We have so much goodness in store.
Yay. Thank you so much for sharing, Amanda. If you guys are able to, I feel like it may be helpful just to like kind of jot down some ideas. So whether you have a notepad or you use like virtual notepads like on your phone or whatever it may be, just because there's going to be points where there's going to be, you know, information we're sharing as well as questions we may be asking. And so that could be helpful. Just a thought. All right, we are going to dive in. We kind of broke our training down into 3 different parts. And so I will start with the first part, which we're going to talk all about Aspire, which will be really exciting. So welcome to Activate. We're again excited that you guys are here. And let me move this out of my screen. Give me 1 second. Okay. So Aspire, this is our first part, because as we start 2024, one of the things that we know that people are doing in the beginning of every year, you know, is setting those New Year's resolutions. They are aspiring to achieve something, whether it's a goal that they're setting, a New Year's resolution they're setting, whatever may happen. And there is such a thing called National Quitters Day. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with that, but this year, National Quitters Day was January 12th. And basically what National Quitters Day is exactly what it says, is it says we all have this like inspiration, this motivation, this momentum in the beginning of the year to aspire towards what we want to accomplish. But then once that day hits, we've kind of fallen off. And one thing that I've learned is when people fall off with their goals, it's not because they're not really dedicated. It's not because they don't really want it. It's typically because they don't have a formula or a strategy to be able to see that goal through. And so when we were kind of narrowing down our date to do this masterclass, we picked this day intentionally because this is the part of the year where most people are already starting to just kind of lose that momentum with it. Whether it's like, okay, I'm going to wake up and go to the gym at 6 a.m. And now this last week, you just haven't had, you know, the desire to do it. Whether it's like me, you're not going to order as much like DoorDash. And then all of a sudden just, you're like, oh, it's kind of convenient. So I'll go back to doing it again. We want to make sure that we're really giving you the tools to be able to not just aspire, but to have the momentum to be able to see your vision all the way through. So Tony Robbins has a quote that I love so much, and it goes, setting goals is the first step in turning the invisible into visible. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with visualization, but visualization is such a powerful tool because if you can see it in your mind, you can hold it in your hand. A lot of like Olympic athletes train using visualization. So they will visualize their competition in their head prior to competing, because then your subconscious doesn't know the difference between what's real and what's imagined, right? And so you imagining this in your head makes your subconscious mind go to task for you to figure out how to bring this to fruition, how to make this happen. Michael Jordan is really fascinating, but he shares his story about like when he was on his high school basketball team, he got kicked off. He actually got kicked off because he wasn't tall enough, not necessarily skill, but he wanted to prove that he had the skill too, and that like he wasn't going to let height or anything get in the way. And so one of the things that he would do is every day he would go home and he would visualize being the world's best basketball player, the world's greatest basketball player. And he would just recite that and say that in his head, and he'd practice it again and again. And so he's a prime example of taking, you know, turning what was invisible, what wasn't really happening, into the visible. And so that's why I love that quote so much, because if you can see it in your mind, you can see it in your reality. And one more piece that I always like to say this, right? I don't believe that God lays dreams or desires on our heart in vain. I believe that there's a reason and there's a purpose behind why certain dreams are placed into our spirit, right? And I always say, if it's desired by you, it's available to you. And so we just get to stay the course, which I'm really excited about. So one of the things that I wanted to talk about when I think about aspirations, I think about our mind and how our mind can often be the biggest barrier preventing us from actually being able to achieve it. You have this dream, but then you tell yourself like, oh, that'll never happen for me. Or you have this dream and then you feel like an imposter, like, who am I to think that I could have this, right? You have this dream where it just feels a little bit too far-fetched. And one of the things that I have learned that has been probably by far the biggest game changer is leveraging the power of our subconscious mind. As an educator myself, when we go through school, so I've gone through school K through 12 plus all the way up through college myself. I have my kids going through it, and plus I've been in education for several years. The one thing that I know is that we learn mostly about our conscious mind, and our conscious mind is great, except for it only is about 5% of our brain, right? Where our brain is the most powerful supercomputer that we have access to, but we're not accessing almost 95% of it. So I have this cute little like graphic that I'll kind of break down the way that it works. So we have our conscious mind, which is about 5% of our mind. Okay. So that's the top part. That's the part we can see. That's the part that we're most familiar with. So with your conscious mind, that's like the logic and reasoning. So this is the part of your mind that you are fully aware of, like you're fully aware of your thoughts, your surroundings, your actions. This is the part of your mind that kind of controls your decision making. And this is also the part of your mind that controls your short-term memory. Then we have what's called our critical faculty or analytical mind. Some people will call it your BS meter. So this is the barrier between your conscious mind and your subconscious mind. This is the thing that will say like, I'm not going to let this embed into, my subconscious, right? This is the thing that can often block it. And then we have our subconscious mind, which controls 95% of our mind, right? So our subconscious mind is all about our beliefs and our emotions. This is our long-term memory. This is our habits, our automatic responses. This is why right now, as I'm talking to you, I'm blinking, I'm thinking, I'm breathing without pausing and saying, hey, Nicolya, like, remember to breathe, And so cool fact, your subconscious mind knows the answer approximately 20 seconds before your conscious mind does. So like yesterday, my daughter kept saying like, I just feel like something's bothering me and I can't put my finger on it. And I was like, okay. I said, I'm going to ask you a question and I don't want you to try to think your way through the answer. Just answer it. And I was like, what's the first thing that's bothering you? She's like, oh, my science homework. I'm to email my science teacher. But like, she didn't have enough time to like process and try to think her way out of it. And that's a lot of times what happens. We set an intention and then we consciously try to effort our way through it, right? We aspire to do something. And then from a conscious perspective, we're like, nope, that can't happen. And I see this often when people do affirmations, because I think a lot of times people consciously try to do affirmations instead of really embedding them at the subconscious level, which I mean, I can go on and on for days about, how the subconscious mind works, different prime directives on how to use it. But I'm just going to do a quick example with you guys right here, right now, that I love, that I think can give you a good idea. So I'm going to have you look around your space super quick. And I want you to find all the things in your space that are Black. And I'll give you a couple of seconds as you're kind of looking around and doing that. Okay. Now I'm going to have you close your eyes. All right. Now I want you to think of all the things that you saw that were red. You can open your eyes. I loved your face. You guys are like, wait, you asked me to find the things that are Black. That's exactly what happens with us, right? What you focus on is what you find. And so when we are focused on the things that we don't want, right? I don't want to have debt. You notice that you have more of it, right? When you're focused on the things that, oh man, I set the same goal to lose 20 pounds last year, but I didn't lose it. No wonder you're not going to lose it this year. And that's a perfect example of one of the prime directives of the subconscious mind. What you focus, What you focus on is what you're going to find. And so learning to focus on the things that you want instead of the things that you don't want is such a big game changer. Now, the cool thing is that these two parts of your mind work together, like the conscious mind and the subconscious mind. And understanding the differences can help you to shed light on behavior patterns, your motivations, the power of your thoughts, and it can help you start to reshape things in a way that helps you to reach that positive change that you desire in your life. So one of the things that I like to start with is beliefs, because before you can even move toward what it is you want, you got to think about, what would you be worthy of that? Do you think that that's available for you? Would it be safe if you received what it is that you aspire to accomplish this year? Do you believe that you're capable of making it happen? Right? Those are things that are coming up subconsciously for you that can often block. And so the ladder of believability is something that I like to use a lot when I work with my one-on-one clients, because a lot of times we will start with, okay, I'll use money as an example. This example I have here, and I feel like a lot of times we set financial goals. But you may say something like, I want to be a millionaire. But as soon as you say that, that BS meter or that critical faculty is like, girl, like you don't even have $10 in your bank account right now. Like you can't do that. But this is why we have to work our way up to get to that point where we're able to digest that belief and believe it, okay? So it may start with something small, like I'm in control of my financial wellness. And the more you digest that and really start to resonate with that and allow your subconscious mind to come online and be like, okay, yep, that's embedded, that's there. I believe that I'm in control of my financial wellness. Then you can move to the next one. And you'll say, my relationship to money is improving every single day. And then you move yourself up. And I deserve the money that I earn, right? The goal is to create steps on the ladder to break down what seems impossible or too far out of your reach to make it more digestible and make it believable. And each step that you climb up this ladder, each rung you climb up the ladder builds the confidence more confidence than you had before. And then you're running to that top, and the original goal that you had in mind no longer seems out of your reach. So when you're thinking of like whatever your aspirations are, you can also build something similar, like a ladder of believability, where you would start at the bottom where you are now. Like, what is something that you can believe in the immediate, but stretch yourself just a little bit to believe, so that you're moving that needle, so that you're moving toward where it is that you want to be. And then at the top, you fill out where it is that you want to be, what it is that you aspire to have or be or do. And then you kind of build in the rungs in between to slowly get yourself up there, right? It's like the quote, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. How do we accomplish our goal? One step at a time. And even those small, seemingly meaningless steps add up to massive results if we give ourselves permission to jump into them, okay? So like I mentioned, if you can see it in your mind, you can hold it in your hand. I just kind of wanted to reiterate that, because that's an opportunity for you to remember, the more you can visualize that success, the more you can see it. So one of the things I've been doing is, like, as soon as I had a 104.8-degree fever and I was in the urgent care and feeling awful, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like this is like the worst time. I have so much I have to do and so much I'm excited for. And I started to visualize what it felt like to be healed, to visualize what it felt like for my fever to be gone, to visualize what it feels like for my voice to come back. And even though it sounds crazy right now, it is slowly coming back from where it was the other day. And so I just started to like visualize that, because again, if I see it up here, it already gets to be mine, okay? And the same for you. So as you think about your goals and your dreams and things that you're desiring to accomplish this year, what is it that you desire to accomplish? What is it that you aspire for or towards? Really taking some time to like sit with that. And a lot of times when we're setting those goals, I think it's important to understand the difference between, like, a value or a state and a goal and an outcome. So if I were to say, Amanda, you said that you really want to fly to Jamaica this year. When are you going to go to Jamaica? I don't know. How many days are you going to stay in Jamaica? I don't know. Who are you going to go with? I don't know, right? A lot of us approach our goals in that same way. They're very ambiguous. We just hope that it happens, and we don't really have it a specific thing. Your subconscious mind loves and thrives off of specificity, okay? The next thing is when you're stating a goal, you want to make sure it's measurable. So you don't want to say something like, I want to be happy. Happy is great. That's a wonderful thing to aspire to. But what does happiness look like? Does that mean that you are, I don't know, working out more because it creates those endorphins? Does that mean that you only yell at your kids once a day versus 10 times? Like, what does happiness look like? How are we making sure that we're measuring it in a way that we can constantly lean in and check in with it? Another piece of a goal is to make sure that it's self-reliant. I know for me, I fell victim to this really early on in my business. I wanted my business to blow up so bad. And there was a lady that I followed, and she was an amazing coach. And once a month, she would feature another coach on her podcast. And then that coach's business, I would watch it. That coach's business would then blow up. And then the next month, the next coach she featured, their business would blow up. And so every day I kept setting this thing like, oh, I really, really hope she features me on the podcast. So my goal, my focus became a savior complex, that she was going to save me with that. Right? There's no savior, right? The goal needs to be self-reliant. You need to think of ways that you are able to do it. And I'm here to tell you that you have everything within you to actually be able to make that happen. You don't need someone to come and save you and to fix that goal for you. It gets to happen because you already have the skills you need to see it through. Another important thing is goals should be current tense. The subconscious mind does not register when you say something in the future. So I will be a best-selling author. That's like down the line, the subconscious mind is like, oh, I'll get to that later. But when you say it in the here and the now, the subconscious mind doesn't want to make you out to be a liar. And so it's like, okay, so how do we make that happen? So really cool fact, when I was writing my first book, I actually had a teacher who told me, like, you're not a strong writer. Maybe I went to write a book when I was in high school, and she's like, no, I just don't know if that's really like your thing. I'm not sure if you should do it. And so I blew that goal off for a long time. And then I got to a point where I decided, oh, you know what? The goal came back up to my mind. And I was like, you know what? I am ready. I am absolutely ready to write my book. So I decided to write my book. And every day I would sit down and I would say, I, Dr. Nicolya, am a best-selling author. I wasn't a best-selling author because I hadn't even had a book written. And I didn't even have my doctorate at the time. But it was like an ongoing affirmation that I would remind myself. And I wrote it in the here and the now as if it was happening in that moment, until it happened in that moment. And then toward motivated. I kind of touched on that a little bit, but you want to make sure your goals are moving toward what you want, not away from what you don't want. So let's say you decide you want to be like an entrepreneur and you're like, I want to get out of my soul-sucking 9-to-5. I hate that job so much. Remember, what you focus on, you find. So the more you focus on that soul-sucking 9-to-5, the more you're going to be drawn into that, and then it's going to feel like that's all that you keep finding and running into, versus being like, I want to have an amazing life-changing business with 20 new clients a month. Then you'll be drawn towards that. It's like a rubber band. A rubber band moves toward what it wants, not away from what it doesn't want. Okay. So we all know about SMART goals. And this is like the original SMART goals: specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-based. And that's kind of what I talked about as we were talking about goals and outcomes and how to be very specific with your goals. But there's another one that I really like to leverage and use that has been such a game changer for me, which is SMART goals using neurolinguistic programming. So this neurolinguistic programming is a program that I'm certified in, but it's all about the programs and the patterns of your mind and how to leverage your subconscious mind. And so when we are setting goals, this is something that I like to use that has been such a game changer. So when I'm setting goals, the first thing I like to do is I think about, can I see myself in it? Right? I visualize, again, bringing that visualization back, and I bring in all of my senses. So if you want to have, $10,000 in your savings account, maybe you're like, okay, what does that feel like when I'm, at the bank, I'm sitting at Huntington or Fifth Third or Chase or whatever. And what does it feel like when I'm there and I'm talking to the cashier? What am I saying? What am I hearing? What am I smelling? Whatever, bringing all of your senses, making it so real that, again, your subconscious mind is like, let's get this going. The second thing is you want to make it meaningful to you. There's no point of you setting a goal that someone else told you to set, because it won't matter to you. My aunt is a health food coach, and when she first started her business, I was like her first trial and error client, and I was so excited. And she was giving me all these like tips and strategies. And the one tip she gave me was to get rid of cheese. I struggle with like fibroids, and she's like, "Oh, you need to stop eating cheese. It's like really bad and it's inflammatory." And I'm like, "Girl, I will eat a block of cheese. I love cheese." So to me, that meant nothing. That was not my goal. I did not move towards it. It wasn't important to me or meaningful to me at the time. A couple of years later, my youngest daughter got diagnosed with a cheese intolerance. And so I started having to change the way we cook. So then that goal became meaningful to me. It became really important to me. And so then I'm like, okay, now that gave me the momentum to see it through because it mattered to me. Another thing I like to do when I'm setting goals and working with clients that and setting goals is thinking about how can you create almost like domino goals. So it's a goal that you set in one area, but it impacts all these other areas. So a goal to like maybe lose weight, now that improves your relationship with your spouse, right? Because you feel better about yourself, and improves your relationship with your kids because you can run around and chase them at the park or whatever. It makes you, it improves your relationship at work because you show up more confident, whatever it may be. So you want to think about how the goal can impact all areas of your life. The next thing is, I don't think anybody would do this, but I always like to think of goals that are making sure that they're ecological or safe or responsible for the collective. What are ways that this goal is safe for the collective? And you'd be surprised to know how many of your goals are that, just that. When you set a goal to lose weight, you're setting a standard for those that are around you. We are an average of the top 5 people we spend the most amount of time with. So when you start maybe getting in the gym, then other people are like, oh man, that's a really good idea. One of my really good friends, she always does dry January. I'm not a big drinker. So this year, she's like, this year for dry January, will you join me? And we're gonna not do Amazon. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's a challenge for me. And because she said that, it kind of set that tone for me to join and jump in. And we've been holding each other accountable, especially as I've been in bed the last couple of days. I've been wanting to scroll and buy things. And I just keep texting her like, tell me no, remind me no. And then again, like we talked about, toward motivated. So making sure you're moving toward what it is you want and not away from what you don't want. Those are like the biggest things when we're setting goals. So kind of thinking about that. We talked about what, I asked you a couple slides ago, like what is it that you aspire to accomplish? So what is your big goal if we think about it using these steps, right? Seeing yourself in it, making it meaningful to you, making sure it impacts all areas of your life, being sure that it's responsible, and being sure that you're moving toward what you do want. So what I'm going to ask you to do is I'm going to ask you to go ahead and if you did pull out a sheet of paper or a notepad or whatever, to just write it down. And it doesn't have to be that same date. Like maybe your goal is a 6-month goal, maybe it's a 2-year goal, whatever. But I just want you to write it out in that way. It is now January 1st of 2025. And I see, I feel, and I am. And just want you to kind of have that in mind, because as Amanda continues to take over, and this will give you the way to really solidify that goal. And then I'll have a couple more things to say, and then we'll hand it over to Amanda. Yes, I see your question, Aiden. We definitely will be sure to send out a recording too. And I'll give you guys about another minute or so to write. All right, while you guys are finishing up writing, I want you to think about these things. I like to ask this question because hopefully it creates that fire under you. But what will happen if you don't get this goal? Just thinking about that. And if you feel that like, oh, that can't happen. Like, no, I don't want that. That means you're writing the right goal, right? That means you're creating the right thing. And then also think about what will happen if you do get it. Think about all those feels that come up, all those feels, get in your feels and anchor them, get in your feelings and just anchor that part of like, man, this is really exciting. You guys can keep writing. I'll share this quick story, but about 2 years ago, I was at the gym. I started this new like fitness routine. I love challenging myself in certain ways, and this was something I decided to do. And I walk in the gym, and there's this huge muscle man, and he's doing pull-ups. And I don't know if you guys have ever done pull-ups, but they require an insane amount of strength. So I walk up to him, and I'm like, man, that is so dope. Like, how did you learn how to do these pull-ups? This is awesome. And he's like, oh, I've been working out for years, but women don't have upper body strength. So don't worry too much about it. And I got so triggered because I hate when people tell me I can't do anything. There may be so much proof behind that, and I'm sure there is, but it was like, man, it felt like he was just kind of like, girl, just blow that off. So that same day, I left the gym. I went home on Amazon Prime because I told you guys I'm obsessed with it. And I ordered a pull-up bar to go outside my door in my room. My brother drove up. He lived about 2 hours away. He drove up. He installed this pull-up bar outside my door. And immediately, it was like January 3rd, I think, I'm like, all right. So I started doing pull-ups. By the end of January, I was able to do 5 pull-ups, which is a lot. But one of the things that I learned during this time is that the reason I was successful with that goal is, one, it was a goal that like moved me. It like really lit me up. All I kept thinking was like, I want to run into this guy at the gym and show him I can do a pull-up. But 2, I kept that goal in the forefront of my mind. Every single time I saw that pull-up bar, I jumped up and did my pull-ups. And it constantly reinforced that idea. And so the reason I share this with you is because as you sit there and list your goal, I want you to think about how can you keep your goal in the forefront of your mind. This is a new yoga pose that I taught myself because of my arm strength now of being able to do pull-ups. So, and that goes back to like keeping that goal in the forefront of my mind. So just remember, what we focus on, we find. So let's focus on what it is we want to create. And I am going to hand it over to Amanda, who's going to talk about attitude.
Yes, thank you so much, Nicolya. And before we kind of go into the second segment of attitude, I did want to say, please stick around to the end. We do have a few little goodies that we have a journal that kind of falls right in theme with our leaf theme that we'll send out to somebody. And then we have at the end another little thing that we want to share. So if you're able to stick around, we'd love for you to have you stay through the whole time with us. And we are recording this, so this will be sent out. Once we get it downloaded, we will send it out through email, so you will have the replay. Okay, but just wanted to highlight that. So stick around if you can. We might go a little over an hour. If you're okay with that, we would love to be able to get through the presentation that we have today. Okay, so bear with me as I'm getting into my part here. Okay, let me skip to where we're starting here. Okay, so one thing that both Nicolya and I really like to do is integrate what we're teaching in the moment. Because I don't know about you, but, and I'm sure, you've attended lots of different classes and things. And sometimes when we just take in, like we're saying, so much of that information into our conscious part of our mind, right? We don't really go and then do the action that we're wanting to do. So we really wanted to set some time today that this was actually like a workshop that you guys are actually going to leave here feeling at the end like, wow, that hour was so worth my time. And our goal is to have you leave here just feeling so uplifted and inspired that whatever it is that you're desiring in your heart, it can manifest and come to the physical realm. And I know the work Nicolya and I have been doing, we have lots of different stories of that. And so one of the pieces I want to talk about today that can really help you get into this flow and into this alignment is talking about your attitude. So we want to talk about what makes up your attitude. All right. And your attitude, let me click here. It consists of your thoughts, your feelings, and your actions. You know, we know, and if you have kids or you've been around kids or adults for that sake, we can tell very quickly what somebody's attitude is. Like, whoa, they have a attitude today, or, oh my goodness, what's going on with them? Like, you can see kind of what people are thinking by how they're feeling based on how their body is behaving, right? You can just get a quick vibe when you walk into a room somewhere. You can kind of say, oh, that person, you know, you can just, you know, by looking at things and observing people, you can get a pretty good idea of where somebody's attitude is. But an attitude is a lot like a piece of cake or a cake. When you bake a cake, let's say I invite you over, hey, ladies, come on over, we're going to have cake night, right? Look at this yummy chocolate cake here. You're not going to say, well, Amanda, that flour in that cake was so good, or I really tasted those eggs in that cake, right? You take you see the whole cake and you taste the whole cake, and it's the consistency of all those ingredients together that give you the baked cake that make it so delicious. And that's like your attitude. It's not just one, you know, it's not just your thoughts. It's your thoughts plus then how you feel, plus then the actions you take. That is what equals your attitude towards life. And okay, let me go to the next one here. So you have control only over 3 things in your life when you think about it. And that is your thoughts, the images you visualize, and the actions that you take. And this is a quote by Jack Canfield, who wrote Chicken Soup for the Soul. But he said, how you use these 3 things determines everything you experience. And if you don't like what you're producing and experiencing, you have to change your responses. And how we do that is getting these 3 things into alignment, as Nicolya was just talking about, to what we want, not what we don't want. And this is an example here. So when we're talking about limiting beliefs, right, things that can really keep us stuck and have us stay in that spot of keep seeing over and over, manifesting or showing up in our life what it is we don't want. So let's say, take this example. This is a personal example for me that I can use. I would say 2018 is when I had this huge shift financially in my life, but it really happened because I began to think about my thoughts. So prior to 2018, if I would open up my bank account and I saw that our bank account was getting low and I knew we had bills due and tuition payments due for our kids, or it's back to school time, and all these different things were starting to come at me, and I saw with my physical eyes, oh goodness, okay, my bank account is not looking very promising right now. Well, that thought then turned into a feeling for me. And that feeling started to just make my heart sink, and fear and doubt and worry, and my body began to feel that negativity, right? That lack, that not very hopeful right now. I don't really see how this is going to work out kind of feeling, where it shifted the way my body actually felt, which could mean for me, sometimes it was having a little like screaming tantrum or lashing out at my kids, some way that behavior came out of my body. But it all started with a thought that I had when I saw something outside of me that didn't make me feel good, that I felt that I had no control over. And so I lived in this cycle for a long time. My husband and I, had really been following a financial planner guy who many of you would probably know, but the whole focus is getting out of debt, getting out of debt, getting out of debt. And so we lived on rice and beans. We cut so much stuff out of our lives, and we really put our focus on, we're getting out of debt. But just as Nicolya said, I didn't realize that what I focus on grows. So we would pay something off, and then boom, all of a sudden, here's a $10,000 check or a bill that came from the IRS that we weren't expecting because something was wrong on my husband's business taxes. Or, you know, we just kept finding that every time we would release that debt, then the debt was right back there. It's like, what is going on? And I finally started to make the connection, and it took me years of this, that I was so focused on the lack of what we were trying to get out of, that's what I kept attracting back into my life. And so I've actually stumbled upon a guy that I've been following on YouTube, a young guy. He was like 22 at the time when I started following him, that started opening up my mind to start thinking about money in a different way. And what he challenged me to do was to not think about what I don't have, but exactly what we're telling you. Think about what I do want and start to align my thoughts, my feelings, and my actions with that desire. And start to go from this lack mentality to more of an abundant mentality that, you know what, like if we turn on the news right now, we can very much go down this negative rabbit hole, right? We're going to be hearing the economy's terrible. There are no jobs. People are being laid off. But at the same time, like I know my friend Donnie and we're in this high level mentorship group right now where we're around people who are making things happen in their lives, who are creating very successful lives, very successful businesses, who are creating millions. But yet one person saying, oh, there are no jobs. The other one saying, well, we can make, you know, if I have this in my head, I can hold it in my hand. So I'm going to go after my desires and I'm going to start initiating and taking action on what I want, not on what I don't want. So I'm going to tune that out and I'm going to focus on what it is I'm feeling that I'm supposed to do, what I'm feeling stirred to do, called to do, right? Because it is possible. If you have that desire, if you have that vision, that is why you have it, because it's saying it is possible for you. It is possible for you. And that energy, that spirit wants to work into and through you as it only can through you. Okay. So then if I look in my bank account and maybe it's still the reality, but I, in my mind, am saying, oh man, but I have this big vision. I have this dream. I have a dream, right? Like, today's MLK Day. So man, I just think about that. It just stirs me in a different way. But when we have a dream and we have a vision, and I know if I can see that in my mind, that means I can actually hold it in my hand and I start to focus on that vision. Oh my gosh, look at that feeling. Oh, that feeling is awesome. That feeling is, I can do this. That feeling is, oh man, can you imagine being surrounded? Like one of the visions I had is around women like you guys who have showed up today. And that being like my tribe of people, like my women that I can go to and be like, we can do this. Let's do this together. Let's bring others along in this tribe. Like that inspires me then to take action in that feeling. And that feeling that I'm putting out is going to be coming back. And so Nicolya and I have an example of that today. Jen, who's on here, we didn't know Jen until last night. All of a sudden, Nicolya's and I, Instagram's blowing up. And Nicolya's like, do you know Jen? I'm like, no. She's like, do you know Jen? I'm like, no. We're like, who's Jen? And then, oh my goodness, like Jen just started researching and then here she is. Like that to me is exactly this, because Jen didn't know that Nicolya and I have been visualizing this very minute for days now, for at least 30 days. And we were asking God, like, attract in people that we don't even know, that need to hear this, that want to come apart and be a part of this tribe, maybe that's forming, right? And so that's an example right there. Like you're going to see when you begin to do this, the synchronicities, the divine aligned appointments, the things that line up, your dreams are just going to keep expanding, right? They're going to keep getting bigger because you're going to take, like Nicolya said, on that ladder, you're going to take it up one rung. And then you're going to be like, oh my gosh, okay, this just worked. Now my belief is growing. So that means I'm going to go up to that next faith. And our whole life, we never reach our like, we don't ever reach the top, right? Like, that's the thing. It's like, we just continue to grow, because if you're not growing, then you're slowly dying. But when you're growing and you have something that you're visualizing, you're looking forward to, you're wanting to see it come into your world, into your family, into your life, that is life-giving. That is hope being stirred. That is faith activating. And so we're going to take some time today and we're going to do a little visualization, because I want you to feel this today. I want you to get into the feeling of it. Now, Nicolya already had you do this. This is just a recap. Make sure you've written down your desire and your goal that you've been thinking about in the present tense. So I like to start mine when I'm kind of doing this. I'm so happy and grateful now that, right? Bob Proctor, he got me started on this as I came across him and started following a lot of his mindset stuff, right? I'm so happy and grateful now that, because as Nicolya said, our subconscious mind, this is the thing, we can trick it because it doesn't know what's imagined or what's reality. It does not know the difference. So whatever you're feeding it, it believes that is true. That's amazing. Like, if you let that sink in, I'm going to say that one more time. Your subconscious mind does not know what you're feeding it, if it's a vision or if it's reality, because whatever you are focusing on and visualizing and feeling and getting into the spirit of it, it believes that's what's really there. That's why it's so important to have these goals in the now moment, because it's like you're pulling what you want in the future to now. Right now, I'm already there, as if it's already happening. So like today, visualizing you all being here, like I've been doing this for days and now it's here. Like, it's, you guys are here. And so before the here was now, right? It was like, I already had you all here now in my mind. Like, this is so awesome. And I'm seeing you guys here and engaging and getting this and just lighting you up and getting excited for your life, right? And knowing it's possible. Like, it's awesome. So we are going to go through a 4 steps. And I actually learned this from another one of my mentors I've been following that also has been one of Bob Proctor's top students. And he goes through this 4-step process. So I would like for you to write down some notes. I'm going to come back and forth to this, but this is how we're going to get into the feeling of it, because the feeling, you guys, that's your vibe. People can pick up on your vibe. You can get into a room and you can be like, yeah, I'm great. You know, yep, I'm doing great. People can tell instantly by the vibe, by the energy coming out of you, if you truly, really are feeling great, right? Not that we always have to be up. I'm not saying that. We can be real human beings, right? But your vibration that you send off, and there's a lot of training Nicolya and I have around this stuff. So we're just giving you like the little crumbs to get you excited about, but there's so much in our coaching that we do, right? But the feeling really is the secret sauce. And so this little 4 steps that I want to take you through is something you can begin to do. And I would challenge you over the next 7 days to really do this and start watching the shift that happens within. Okay. So the very first thing we're going to do is I'm going to put on a little bit of music, and we're going to be, as you're thinking about your goal, I want you to have inner thrill thoughts, and you're going to visualize the end scene of whatever your desire was. Okay. What kind of thrill comes? Like, this would be an example. Wow, how awesome is it to have the connection I've been longing for with my spouse? You know, I've been longing for this deep connection. Woo, it's finally here. And you're like, you're just feeling, hearing those inner thrill thoughts, and you're visualizing the end scene. Remember, like, as if you already have it now. Now, in the physical realm, it's going to feel like a lie, but in the spiritual realm, it's a truth, because we know that the spiritual realm is more real than the physical. Like, you can just look outside at nature and just watch it. Like, there's so much happening that we can't actually see with our eyes, but is happening every single day. And so, like, I'll repeat that. It's going to feel like a physical lie because you might not have it here right now, but it's a spiritual truth because you have that desire. That means it's possible for you. All right. So what I'm going to do, we're just going to start with step 1. And I'm gonna just put a song, like some music on for about 40 seconds or so. And I want you just to close your eyes and really take that end scene and bring it to your mind and hear yourself, those inner thrill thoughts. Wow, how awesome is it now that I have $200 extra in my bank account that it's here, it's there now, like seeing it land in your bank account or whatever it could be, something that you're wanting to see that's not here yet, okay? So I am going to take us to the music part. Let's see, okay. And give me a thumbs up if you guys can hear it. I'm gonna fast forward a little bit. Close your eyes. We're gonna take about 40 seconds. Hear that inner wow, like the thrilled thoughts coming over you as this manifests, as this comes here now. Can you click a little bit? Okay, so I'm going to click back here. Let me get back to our PowerPoint. Sorry, I'm going to have to do some clicking back and forth here. Okay, so that should have felt really good, okay? The next way we're going to do this is we're going to listen to the music, and as we're listening to it, we're going to put our hand on our chest, and we're going to take some deep breaths. And we're going to breathe in. As we breathe in those deep breaths, we're going to be bringing in those desires, okay? Bringing in those desires and really feeling it like within, feeling it within, okay? So we're going to do that for about 30 to 40 seconds again. So I'm going to kind of go back to our music here. And take those deep breaths and really see that desire like coming into your life as you're breathing it in, okay? Okay. All right. Give me a thumbs up if you're liking this so far. Okay, awesome. All right, step 3. Another way to really get in the feeling of this is feeling words and gratitude. All right, so on this one, let's kind of make sure we're all muted. I won't mute because I'll have to do the music, so I'll say it inwardly. But I would like for you to say outwardly how you're feeling now that it is here. I am so happy and grateful now that I have this connection with my spouse, now that I have this connection with my daughter, now that I have this money in my bank account, because with this, I'm going to be able to give, or I'm going to be able to go do this with my family, whatever it is, right? You just start getting into the flow of gratitude, right? So seeing that end scene of your desire, already be done with telling yourself how you feel with deep gratitude. All right. So make sure you're muted. And let's see. Okay. I think everybody might be muted. And then I'm going to put the music back on, and we'll do this for another so many seconds. last one, this is where Nicolya talking about this, the power of our senses. So as we visualize this end scene again, with your desire already being done, bring in all your senses. What do you smell? What do you feel? Taste can kind of be iffy sometimes on this one, okay? But what maybe are you hearing? Hear, see, taste, touch, smell. Okay, so working through those senses as we're doing this, all right? Last time for this, and we'll move on. Right. Now, I am going to say, if visualization is something newer for you, it takes practice. This is something you can begin to just even do a few minutes a day. But when I started really starting to visualize what I wanted, you guys, some of you know, and I have a cast on right now, so it's hard, but I just even want to see if I can show you really quick. Well, let me see. Okay, hold on. All right. I think, because let me just stop this. I want to just show you guys really quick something, because this is real life stuff, not making this up. When I started to visualize, sorry, I got my wheelchair. Last year, one of the visions I had was the space in the home that my family and I had. We loved it. We made it our home. But when we would let people in our front door, I couldn't really welcome people in. It was like our steps were right there. And it just seemed to really bother me because I wanted people to feel welcome in my home. And they came in like, hi, welcome. Not like, let me shut the door on you. Hold on. Let me squeeze over here. You know, it just felt very cramped. And my husband and I, it doesn't really make much sense to expand out of our house. It's going to cost too much money. So we just started to say, well, man, okay, we're learning a lot about this stuff. What if we just start really visualizing and dreaming of a new home, a new space that would give us what we want? And so for about, now, I'm not saying this works like this for every single person, but for about 4 months, I wrote in my journal and I wrote down exactly what I wanted to see. And I embodied this every day in my visualization time, every morning. Angela, you'll know, I did my miracle morning every morning before school. And I'm very like disciplined when I do things like this. So I would spend time every morning doing my visualization. And my vision was that I wanted to walk in and I wanted a huge entryway and I wanted windows that looked outside to trees. Like that's about as specific I get. And I'm learning, you can get very specific because like Nicolya was saying, your subconscious loves specificity. Okay. Loves it because it has something to believe. And so when I started to visualize that, and I won't share the whole house story, but if you look on my Instagram, you can go down and see a little bit more of that story. But I want to show you guys what I now walk into. Last January, we closed on this home. And exactly, we're still in work in progress, but exactly what I held in my mind as a vision has come to manifest. And there are 4 windows that look right outside to nature. And we have this huge entryway that now I can welcome people in. And I don't, oopsie, did I lose you guys? Uh-oh. Okay, good. Thought I lost you. I don't share that to boast and say, oh, it's not about the house to me. What it showed me was that this is true. This is faith. This is where faith is being sure of what you hope for and certain of what you cannot see in the now, but you know it is possible through faith. That is a story for me of faith and really embodying and doing this. So just wanted to share that really quick. And then we're gonna wrap up with our third part. So I hope you guys enjoyed the visualization piece. That is so powerful. And the more you implement and really begin to do this, whatever desire you have, you can see it in the physical realm. It is possible, or else you wouldn't have had the desire in the first place. Okay. So let me get back to share this last part here. And okay. All right, perfect. All right, we're gonna move
I
on.
wanted to add to super quick when you're talking about
Yes.
visualization, there's a thing called aphantasia, where some people who can't visualize, like they literally can't. Notice that that's a thing. You can also tune into feelings. So like, what are the feelings that I have around it? So that was something I wanted to add when you talked a little bit about
Thank
the
you.
visualization. Yeah.
Yes, definitely. All right, so the last thing that Nicolya and I really, sorry, it's weird turn, really have a passion and desire to help women with is that accountability piece. Like, why go at it alone when we can be surrounded by other like-minded women who are going to help us uplift and be the person we want to be the mom, be the wife, be the friend, be whoever it is, your coworker, whatever, roles that you play in your life, but more importantly, be the best version of you that you can be. And so we are very, very excited to share with you guys something we have been working on behind the scenes for some time now. And once again, this is the vision that was given to really come alongside of other women and inspire her. And we are forming what we are calling a soul tribe of women that we want to see more and more women gather. And we want to share with you now what that kind of is looking like, how it's been unfolding as we've been doing research and kind of finding how can we create something like this, right? And we found this really awesome platform called School, which I love because both Nicolya and I just stepped out of my physical classroom to kind of expand and teach more of this stuff with you guys and different people, right? But it's called School, SKOOL. So this isn't your typical type of school where you're just going to come and get more information and fill that conscious part of our mind. This is a soul tribe school where we are going to come alongside each other and we are going to inspire one another day in and day out around other like-minded women. And we really see this growing. My vision's big. I know Nicolya's vision's big. So for you guys to be here and some of the first that we're telling about this, I can't even tell you the gratitude in my heart to be sharing this with you guys, because it has been one of those visions that we've held. And so on this platform, we really like this platform because it's so easy. And has everything in one place. So it has a community piece to it where it's kind of like, think about it like a Facebook, but you don't have all the algorithms, you don't have ads popping up, you don't have different people. It's just like one space where it's like we can chat together just like you would, go and put a post, you can put GIFs and GIFs or however you want to say that, all those things in there, and we can communicate back and forth on here. And so like I just put 2 little posts to kind of get us started, right? And then the other tab at the top is called Classroom. And Nicolya and I have been building this, and this is going to be something that continues to grow. So what Nicolya and I envision doing is we will be holding live master classes monthly that you can join into live, like this kind of a master class, a Zoom. Or if you miss it and you can't make it, then they will be housed here where you can always go back and get the master classes that you might have missed. Okay. So you can see in here under our master classes, we have a welcome video together, and then one from her and one for myself. And then Nicolya already put in a master class for January. We'll add this one in there once we get this recorded and down in there. And then what's really fun is like, there's what we call a leaderboard. So the more you engage and you kind of work through levels, different things will unlock for you. So like when you get to level 2, I put a 4-week course that I did called this one's Nicolya's Tapping into Abundance that she has around EFT tapping, doing some tapping work. And then down here at level 4, I have Pathway to Potential, where I led a workshop this summer, a 12-week course with women. And so I put the first 4 weeks in there, so you can kind of tune in, and to a lot of what we talked about today, it goes into a lot more depth at a deeper level. And then we'll continue to be adding to this. And so the classroom piece will just continue to build. Nicolya also put in here a leaves on a stream meditation. So meditation. And like I said, we'll be adding to this daily. And then another little simple feature. So it's like community classroom calendar. And the calendar is where we'll have our upcoming master classes and stuff that we'll be holding. And then you can see other members that would be a part of this. And then the leaderboard, and then the about section, just kind of a little bit more about this soul tribe. So we wanted to share that with you today because we don't want people to feel alone, and we want to have a place where women can come and feel inspired and feel uplifted and supported. And you know, this is just the first step of this. Like, we really see this being something where possibly, maybe, we'll see, I'll plant a seed here for y'all, but maybe some of you women would be a part of this journey with us. We see like us leading conferences. We see us being on stages. We see not just this Amanda and Nicolya, but really a team of women who we all come together. If this is something you would feel led and to want to be a part of. And, you know, maybe Angela speaks on something for 30 minutes, or Jen or Megan or whoever, you know, Michelle, Erin. I mean, we really see this being bigger than just us, but it has to start somewhere. And so we thank you for being here for the start of this. And Nicolya, I'll have you kind of take over from there.
Yeah, if you can click the next slide, I put like a little MLK quote in there. And to answer your question, Aiden, yes, we actually have a founder's fee right now because this is something that we're starting. So you can jump in at 47, and we will be kind of like raising that as we continue to add more things. I actually just added the leaves on the stream just now while Amanda was talking. There's just certain things, and it's all a meditation of like releasing those thoughts that don't serve us. And it's a really cool meditation that I've used a lot personally with my girls and with clients. So
really quick, Nicolya, so in the chat, did you put a link where they can join?
I did. Yep. I put
awesome.
a link in there, and you can check it out and then join us there. But Aiden asked if there was a cost. No, you couldn't see the chat. So I was just in that part. But one of the things that today's MLK Day, but this is actually a quote that I don't just say on MLK Day. It's a quote I live by. And the quote is, faith is taking the first step, even when you don't see the whole staircase. And a lot of times when we set goals, we want to already know what that next step is or what that's going to look like. And I'm here to tell you that it's okay to not know that. The way I look at this quote is like, when we take that first step, we get to trust that each additional step will be illuminated in front of us at just the right time. Yep. And so I think of our community as that space to be able to do that. You have a big goal, you have a big dream, you have a big desire, and you get to take faith, you can take that next step in faith and then have that support of a community. Research says that we are an average of the top 5 people we spend the most amount of time with. And so when we're in a community of like-minded women, of people that are really making waves with their goals, we can't help but to follow suit, right? We just fall in line. And so that's what Amanda and I are just so excited about, to be able to support you guys at being able to see it through, because the last thing we want is for you to have yet another year where you're like, new year, new me, and you have this resolution or this goal and you've not made that progress with it. Like, you get to make this year truly different. And if we want something different, we got to do something different. And that's one of the reasons Amanda and I created this Soul Tribe, because we wanted it to be a safe space for people to do those things that actually move the needle. So we would love to have you. Definitely check out that link that I put in the chat. And we'll open up for Q&A in a moment. But one of the things I want to do really quick is we promised that we had the bonus journal that we would be mailing out. So I'm going to ask you guys to put a number from 1 through 50 in the chat. We already picked our number. Amanda has it. I have it. Like, we're already accountable to it. But whoever's closest to that number will receive our special journal. So if you can put number in the chat. Make sure we got everyone. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, awesome. I don't know how to say your name, but Val J, I think you are our lucky winner. Our number was 33. So yay to Val J. If you don't mind sending either Amanda or I a private chat with your address. We can make sure that we can send that over to you. Oh, I forgot to say, we do have a prize for our first 2 signups for the school program too. So the first 2 signups, one will receive a Starbucks gift card, and then another one will receive a 20-minute coaching session with Amanda, which will be super exciting. So if you guys are definitely on the fence, I would say like this is a great time to join, because we definitely want to make sure that we give you some exciting special goods if you join us. Okay. Then I think if you can click the next 2, I think it was winners, and then maybe Q&A, Amanda, if you can click that. Sorry.
Okay, yep.
Probably should have taken over.
Okay, hold
Oh,
on.
thank you, Val. Yeah, Val, if you can send me your information, I can make sure to send it over. And
Oh, I think I just, sorry, accidentally just emailed.
well, I think it's
you.
just Q&A. So guys, if you have any
Okay.
questions, now would be a great time. Yep, I was right. Okay, good. I was like, I
Okay.
think that's what I looked at. This will be a great time to come off of mute or type in the chat if you have any questions for us. We would love to answer, and it could be maybe about something we talked about. It could be about the Soul Tribe, but we're here for the next, I would say 13 minutes or so. If you guys want to ask any questions, we can support you with.
I do have a question. Would you say that this is a faith-based community, or, I mean, I know clearly everybody would be welcome, but I'm just curious about like the foundation of it, if you don't mind answering that.
Yeah. So interestingly enough, Amanda and I both are believers. And one of the things that we have run into is a lot of times as believers, there is a lot of stigma around I guess some of the things that we focus on, but one of the things that she and I have in common is that, so like, for example, I think about what like in manifestation space, they talk about, visualizing and all that stuff. And there's a lot of stigma around that. But in church, people will say, speak things into existence, right? And so there's a lot of like similarities. And so what Amanda and I feel like what we would say is we definitely have a faith background, but it is not solely focused on like faith-based beliefs by any means. Like we have very open perspectives. And it's so interesting, funny you say this, but when Amanda and I, a little bit about our journey is Amanda used to be my mom's next door neighbor. And so that's how we originally met. And then after that, we just kept having these like constant run-ins. Like I was her daughter's school counselor. And then we shared a student. We ended up applying in the same district on the same day. So we were like sitting in the waiting room for a job application. We ended up sharing a student between her elementary and my middle school. Then one day she's like downtown looking for a haircut place. I'm at Graders with my kids and she doesn't know it's me. And she like taps me to ask me for directions. So we just kept having all of these like random synchronicities, right? And I always tell her, like, I do not believe in coincidence. I believe in divine timing. And we just kept running into each other. And so we started to connect. And it was so funny because we both came from like pretty religious backgrounds. And so I wouldn't say like upbringings, but we both were very religious at a time. And we both kept feeling the stigma around wanting to tell each other like what we were doing that felt just a little bit different. And then the more we started to talk about it, we realized like we are called to do this and to teach things in unique ways. And so our space is an open space for people, whether you have that religious background or whether you don't. And I guess that's the best way I can sum it up, Amanda, if there's anything you wanted
No,
to
I
add.
think you summed it up perfectly. Yeah, we definitely want all to feel welcome, and to feel included and to feel loved, more importantly than anything. Yeah, so.
Great question. Do we have any other questions?
Do you plan to have another gathering such as today?
Yeah, so a
ahead.
part of our Soul Tribe group, that's what we'll be doing. So we really would love for you, honestly, to join, to become a part of that Soul Tribe, because we have so much that we want to give and pour out, but we have to have a community, right? And so for that, when we kind of came up with a price or whatever, it's kind of hard to put a price on something, especially like for her and I, like like we're pouring our hearts into this, right? Because we have learned so much that we want to turn and teach others, but we wanted it to be something that's affordable that people could come in and start to see. And it's a, you know, you can cancel at any time if you get in and you try it for a month and you're like, oh no, I don't like this at all, which we hope would not be the case, but we're going to keep adding so much valuable content, but we wanted it to be something that you put a little bit of skin in the game. So there's that accountability as well. Right. And so, so within our soul tribe, we will be hosting those master classes. And I could see that, you know, we would hold these for a bigger audience outside of just that at times to invite more and more people in to know what we're doing, right? Or like, you know, like we said, you guys are a part of the founding thing with us or whatever you want to call it. Like we even could see having like affiliate type of stuff. Like if you have people, you know, that would be interested, we could give you like affiliate, like some type of discount off of your price or like a little chargeback or whatever, you know, we're open to all of that. And we're looking at that now. But we're just taking our next step, which is kind of getting this going, but would definitely love to have people spreading it and helping us. And we would definitely help you guys however we can to help get the word out there. Because I just think it's, well, I don't think it's a vision that has been given. And so I know that there are women that are in need of something like this, or we wouldn't have had the desire. We wouldn't have had the vision. And I had several women that actually just couldn't attend today for sickness or different things. So we'll be sending this out to more people. But I bet each of you know a handful of people that you're like, I really think I know so that would really love this and benefit. And you tell them. And so you might be able to get your whole monthly thing paid for just by referral fee, you know? Like we're open, and anybody who kind of joins in, Nicolya and I will take note of that and kind of see if it's obviously to whatever level you want to be involved. But if you kind of see yourself being more kind of a part of like a leadership kind of thing with us, like we're open to that. Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
I don't have a question necessarily, but I just wanted to say thank you guys so much. This was wonderful. It was so awesome. I was just like taking notes constantly and just like really feeling everything that you guys were sharing. And I know you have, Amanda, have been pouring your heart and soul into this, and just sharing your wealth of knowledge is just absolutely wonderful. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
Oh, thank you for coming, Angela.
Yeah, thank you, Angela. That was so sweet.
Yes. Yes. And Michelle, okay, Michelle Miller, I have to say, this is so funny. Michelle, I didn't even realize that was you because I forgot she just got remarried. And so her name changed. And so at first I was like, Michelle Miller, Michelle Miller. I'm like, oh, that's Michelle Jones. Well, not anymore.
Yes.
Michelle and I met way back in college. And so we went to Miami together, and we've been soul sisters. A lot of you
Yes,
guys, I could go around,
absolutely.
those that I know, I feel some type of soul connection. So you to be a part of this soul tribe would mean
Yeah.
so much, you know,
Awesome.
so much. Yeah,
Awesome. I'm excited. Divine connections and divine timing. For
that's
sure.
100%. 100%. Even the way this came about. So yeah.
Exactly. Awesome.
absolutely.
I
Yeah,
wish you guys the
is
best.
it Vouch or Val? How do you say your name? I want to
Val, and then Johnson is her last name. So Val
Oh,
Johnson.
okay. Because on there saying like VALJ, and I'm like, is it Vouch? I'm like, oh, it could be. I don't know. Okay, Val. And so Val, how did you find out about Nicolya and I today? I might have missed it in the chat.
So I am on Nicolya's email list. I had talked to her about Elevate. I want to do that in the near future. And so this came up. I signed up for it, and I was running a little late today. So yeah, I just kind of typed Val J in the username there.
That's good.
As
Okay.
soon as you wrote me your address and your name, I was like, oh, I know who Val is. I remember our conversation. So it made sense. But at first I was like, I don't know how to pronounce this name either. So it makes sense now. But we're excited that you're here. We're so
Yes.
excited.
Me too. Thank you so much for today, and thank you for the planner or the journal.
Oh, yes, we'll get that to you for sure. Yeah. Yeah.
I do have a question. Where is, and I may have missed this because I was late to the party, but where is everyone located?
Oh, yeah.
I'm from Cleveland.
Tennessee.
Tennessee. Okay.
We're from Columbus.
I'm from Columbus.
And
Cleveland,
Nicolya and I, yeah, we're pretty much close to Columbus, but we live in Well, I live in Westerville. Are you Westerville? Or were
Yeah,
you?
I'm Westerville too. Mhm.
So all around Columbus, Ohio, if you know.
Awesome.
And you're in Green Bay, is that right?
No, but I like the Packers.
I know. I saw, okay, I saw your Packers post.
Yes,
Okay.
Amanda.
Okay.
I'm
We
in
had
College
someone on
Station.
earlier from UK too, and then someone from Canada too. So
Yeah,
yeah.
Donnie, I know she's in my mentorship group. I love her from the UK. And then from Canada, I don't know who that person was, but
I can't remember. It was Aiden, but she had to pop off.
okay, awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anybody else? And Megan, we're so glad you came. And Aaron, my dear friend Aaron. So glad to see you guys here. Yes. This
Oh,
means-
Jen, College Station. Awesome.
Oh, okay.
Aggies.
Oh, Texas. Oh, okay. Yeah, that was okay. I'm thinking like north, but no, you're not north. Okay. So you guys are 3 hours or 2 hours behind? Like you're on what time right now?
I'm on Central, so I'm an hour.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay.
But we got rain and snow or sleet today. So little, because we never get that. You know,
Oh
it's not
boy,
common. Yeah.
yes. I remember the big winter storm Texas had like
In
last year, 2 years.
2019. It was
Yeah.
it was
Oh, is it
19.
that long
Yeah.
ago already? Oh my
Yeah.
goodness. COVID just like
Or
makes it-
maybe it was 20, but nonetheless.
I want
yeah.
to say it was right around then because my good friend, she's from Chicago and she relocated to Texas to avoid that. And then that was the
Yeah.
year it happened.
Oh,
He was like, did I bring it with me? You know?
Yeah.
Oh my
Was
goodness.
that 20 then? Is that right? Maybe 20
I
or
want to say it
21?
was 2019, but maybe